Good morning, I'm Chris with Everyman Overland. I'm here today to introduce you to one of the newest compressors on the market today. This is the Tozalazz 4x4 off-road dual cylinder compressor. So the Tozalazz compressor is the next in the line of all of the dual cylinder compressors that are finally coming onto market. So as most of you know, a little over a year ago, Napa introduced a MaxiTrack brand of compressor that was one of these and was, I believe, to be the first dual cylinder compressor on the market. And they sold it for way too little money, and it sold out instantly. It was like 2-3 weeks people were getting them. I was lucky enough to have gotten one, and then they were gone. And then nobody had these compressors. For whatever reason, everyone was building the single cylinder version of this compressor. All of the dual cylinder compressors, where you could find them, were rated at 10.6 CFM. And they were monsters, and they were amazing, and everybody loved them. But they sold out instantly, and then they weren't on the market. I don't know if it was a chip shortage, I don't know. You call it what it was. Wherever the economy was at, it was at, and we couldn't get any more dual cylinder compressors. Well, in the last few months, they have started to roll back out. And there's a number of different companies that have them. This one from Tozalazz, instead of being rated at 10.6, from reading their literature, they're claiming that they're using a different motor technology that actually bumps this up by 10%. So this is good for 11.65 CFM or 330 liters per minute, where the older style, like my MaxiTrack that I have, is only 300 liters per minute. So it's a full 10% more than what we've had before. So I have arranged before you here everything that the compressor comes with. When it shows up, it's, cardboard box and styrofoam, and I don't need to show you the cardboard box and the styrofoam, although so far that's probably been my biggest complaint about this compressor, about all the accessories or whatever, is the box that it ships in. The box is fine, but the styrofoam is like that thick. And so this big heavy compressor, as it's been shipped over from China and floating around in the UPS truck, the weight of the compressor just smashed up all the styrofoam, not into little tiny bits, but it's broken here, broken there. There could probably be a little bit better job of packing. However, it did show up from Amazon Prime, so if it shows up and is broken, send it back and they'll send you a new one. Everything else that comes with it is fairly standard. You get a 25-foot long hose with the built-in gauge on it. Something very nice that actually comes with this, doesn't come with every compressor that you buy, is this little extension that you can use to clamp onto your tire, and then you can walk away from it. The hose that comes with all of these has this little screw-on piece, and you just screw that onto your valve stem. And though it functions just fine, when you're out there and you're dirty in the mud and you're trying to line this up and you get it on, and you put it on the thing, and it's so much easier to just use this little adapter. You screw that right onto there, and then you just leave it this way permanently. This is just how it lives in your truck. And then when you put this in, you just boop, you plug that in, you put this under your tire, dunk, done. Super easy. And of course, it also comes with the instructions, and it comes with little, I don't know how easy you can see here, comes with the little nipples for inflating possibly air mattresses, and then you've got one for your, soccer balls and basketballs and whatever. I'm gonna try and test this out later on a soccer ball or something, but I'm here to tell you, this thing is extreme overkill for blowing up soccer balls and basketballs. The size, the weight, and the power output, and just the amount of air that this compressor moves. This thing is really designed to be blowing up, big off-road tires. I've only got 33s on Janky, and it might even be overkill for 33s. In fact, as I'll show you in a little bit when I take it out, I'm gonna hook it up to the truck, and so I'm gonna hook it up to the truck, I'll deflate all 4 tires, and I'll take a video of it inflating all 4 tires at the same time so you can see how fast these compressors actually work to air up your tires. Which brings me to the point that these compressors will move so much air that they can actually overpower, they'll move more air than the 4 tire valves that you have on your truck, and really takes advantage of a 4 tire inflation system, which is available elsewhere, or you can make it on your own. I actually have a video where I show you how to make one of those. But if you have a 4 tire inflation system, it just makes everything go so much faster. Taking this around from tire to tire, I got tire. It's going to air up your 33-inch tire or your 35 or whatever really, really fast on just 1 tire, because it's fast on 4. It's going to be crazy on just 1. And lastly included, it does come with a carry bag that fits the compressor quite well. And this bag, they seem to have updated it. It seems to be a little bit thicker. It's a little bit better. Here's some of the styrofoam from shipping that, I don't know, welded itself to the bag. But the bag itself holds everything that you need. It's got some nice carry handles on it. And like I say, it seems like they have improved this bag over previous versions that I've seen. It just seems like it'll live a little bit better. It'll last you a little bit longer. And so far, before I've actually plugged it in and used it, the only thing that I can tell you that I've found on the compressor that I really wish they would kind of do a different style is the air hose fitting. All of these compressors, be it the single cylinder or dual cylinder, they all utilize this Nitto style air fitting. And while I do believe it moves a bunch of air, this isn't the standard for air hose fittings here in America. So if you're using this hose, which this is a fantastic hose, the hose itself is of great quality. It's not that cheap plastic coiled up stupid yellow hose that I actually got with mine, but you're limited to using just this hose unless you purchase or make an adapter that goes onto the end of this so that you can plug a standard, more American style fitting into this. This fitting works just fine. It works perfect. If you're using this hose, it just kind of limits you to what you're available to use. You can't plug in all of the tools that are already in your garage. You're limited to just this hose. You'll also hear a couple of times I've said, yeah, this and all the other ones like it, and all the other ones like. When I compare this and when I say, oh, this is a lot like all of the other compressors on the market, understand, that's not a dig. I'm not at all trying to do a disservice. In fact, I think it's very strong, and it should make the consumer, it should make you feel very good about buying this compressor, because there's so many of them out there like it, and you're not seeing online, oh, you can't buy these compressors because all of them break. The only reports, the only complaints that I've heard of people talking about that they killed one of these compressors is because they started taking apart and making modifications to it. I want to do this, I want to do that, so I'm plugging this up, and then it broke. So far, I haven't read any reports of anyone complaining about these compressors just dying off early. Everybody loves them. They seem to be nailed. They've got the engineering figured out. And if the literature that I've read on this is correct, that this is 10% more volume than the other ones on the market, that's awesome. Okay, so I am gonna go ahead and move back out to the driveway where I can run the truck a little bit. And right now, Marla is out there and she's trying to light a fire, and it's been really rainy here lately, so not really cooperating. I'll go ahead and move back out to the driveway so I can fire Janky up and we don't have to worry about the exhaust fumes, and we can see what this compressor will really do. So here we are. Let's go ahead and get this hooked up to the battery. One advantage to this Tozalazz that I haven't seen on others in the market is the cables for the battery are a lot thicker. It's not indicated on the wire itself, but I believe this may actually be a full 10 gauge wire. And the advantage to that, the other compressors that I've seen like this have a little bit smaller wire, maybe a 14 gauge wire, and that means that the leads can't be as long. But take a look at that. This is like, I don't know, it's at least a 6-foot lead. Typically when I set these compressors up and I use one of these compressors to air up the truck, I have to leave it up here on top of the truck where the truck is running because the leads aren't long enough to get it to the ground. But with this Tozalazz compressor and the longer and thicker leads, I can set that on the ground, come and plug it into the battery, and now I don't have to worry about the compressor falling off the front of the truck. I can just set it down on the ground and hit it running. Okay, to get started, I'm just gonna deflate one tire and I'm gonna use the factory hose that comes with the compressor, and we can watch and see how quickly this compressor will air up just one tire. So I'm gonna take the valve core out and I'll drop it down to 0 PSI, and then we'll air it back up. We'll see how it does. Okay, so there you are. We are now dead flat. No air in the tire whatsoever. I'll put the valve core back in it, get it hooked up. Let's put some air in it. Okay, so you can see the gauge is at 0, no air in the tire. I'm gonna go ahead and start the engine. I will say that these dual compressors do pull a lot of electricity. So I recommend having the engine running so it's not pulling directly from the battery. So I'll go ahead and get the truck started up. And then I've got my handy dandy cell phone out here so I can start a stopwatch on it, and we can see how long it takes to air this tire back up to 35 PSI. Now we're at 35 PSI from 0 on a 33, 12, 50, 17. Close enough not matter, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I don't know how you beat that. That's fast. Okay, so for the next test, I'm gonna go ahead and drop all 4 tires to 0. I've got my 4-tire inflation system hooked up. I can use this to go ahead and drop all 4 tires. Takes a little bit longer. I won't make you watch the whole process of dropping the tires to nothing, but I'll go ahead and get them at 0. Then we'll hook it up to the compressor, see how it does on 4 tires. Okay, so all 4 tires, 0 PSI. You can see it's open now. There's no air coming out anymore. We're here, no pressure. All 4 tires are dead. So let's go ahead and hook up the 4-tire system to the compressor. This is the adapter that I made because I'm actually running the American style fittings on here. This was super cheap and super easy to make, so don't let that hold you down. Okay, so I've got that on there. I'm gonna go ahead and get the truck fired up. We'll get this thing running. So there you go, 6 minutes, 17 seconds, and there was a little bit of click on, click off here and there. So let's call it close enough not matter, just a bit over 6 minutes to air up 4 33-inch tires from 0 PSI all the way up to 35. Proof in the pudding right there. This thing's amazing. So we're at roughly 2.5 minutes to air up a single tire, and we're just over 6 minutes to air up 4 tires, which is just over 1.5 minutes per tire. So as you can see, with a 4-tire inflation system, this thing moves so much air, it's actually faster to do it this way. So there you go. There's the information for the trucks. And as you can see, I've been in one constant shot since I shut this off. As you can see, I can touch the compressor. It's not overheating, it's not dying, it's not struggling. It's just happy to be here. So now that we're done with truck tires, and just for the giggles of it, I'm gonna pull Marla's Lexus outside, and I'm gonna flatten one of her super expensive, like 19-inch sexy car tires, and I'm gonna show you what it'll do for a regular car tire. Okay, Marla's right over there. I gotta do this real fast before she sees me, because she's gonna get mad at me for breaking her car. Let's get all the air out of this tire. Okay, so again, I'm gonna go ahead and get the car running, fire this up, and we'll watch the magic on a small tire. And there you go. 0 to 35 PSI in less than 50 seconds. It's amazing, I'm telling you. Okay, and why not? Just because I have a little bit of an affinity for the ridiculous. Here's a soccer ball, and I got it as flat as I could. And I'm not even gonna bother starting the truck up for this, because I'm actually afraid this might blow up in my hand. So, here we go. And there you go. I'm sorry, I didn't time it for you guys. What was that, like a half a second? I don't know. But there you go. So if you need to blow up soccer balls in like a second, maybe a second and a half, there you go. Okay, so with the ridiculous soccer ball, I think that kind of concludes the review on this compressor. And for those soccer aficionados for you out there, really, don't buy this. This is ridiculous. This is way too much for, really, it's probably even overkill for Marla's Lexus, right? But if you've got a truck, if you're going off-road, you're airing down, when you air back up, I can't tell you there's much of anything better than this Tozalazz compressor. It's fast, it's stable, puts out a ton of air. So yeah, when it comes time to air up on the trail, get yourself a Tozalazz compressor. air yourself back up, and then, like, I don't know, sit back and have a margarita or a beer or something and just watch the rest of your friends with their plebeian compressors struggling, and I don't know how long it's going to take me, and they're going to have to get a hotel room while they're waiting for their tires to fill up. You know the thing. This compressor, it's awesome. This is going to be my new compressor. I've still got my MaxiTrack compressor. That has been my go-to. I'm going to swap out, and I'm going to start using this Tozalazz. They say it's 10% stronger. It'll move 10% more air than previous versions. I don't know. Maybe it does. I can't tell you for sure. I don't have equipment that can measure the CFM coming through the... But I'll tell you what, it's not any weaker. What were we a second ago? Just 6 minutes to air up all 4 tires from 0? You're out on the trail. Nobody airs down to 0, right? I mean, if you've got beadlocks, maybe you're airing down to like 3 or 4. Most of us are airing down to, 12 to 15 PSI. And so now I'm going to be into it for what, like 3.5 minutes to air up from normal trail down to roadwork. This thing's awesome. I love it. So thank you to Tozalazz. And just by the way, we've all heard it before. Support the companies that support your hobbies, right? So not only did Tozalazz send me this compressor here, it's like, hey, check this out. Use it. See how you like it. Tell everybody if you like it. Tell everybody if you don't like it. Whatever it is, just let people know your opinion. But they sent me a second compressor. When we were talking about this, I let them know, hey, in about another month or so, I'm going to be going to this big off-road event. We're going to have almost 300 trucks and a whole bunch of people, and we're having a raffle. Would you like to donate an additional compressor? And they said, yeah, absolutely. So they sent me out 2 compressors, one for me and one just to give away at this off-road event that we're going to. So again, if you believe in supporting the companies that support your habit, Tozalazz, that's the way to go. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. And to the rest of you out there, as always, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I will answer the questions. If I don't have an answer, I'll go out there and try and figure out an answer for you. Like, subscribe, do all the things. I hope to run into you guys on the trail. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.